First things first, we need to climb into the cabin. When you stumble upon a Lamborghini, oh my goodness, we were talking complete nonsense when we assumed that a Lambo would be uncomfortable. I am very comfortable. Your knees are pretty much wrapped around your ears. This isn't what you want for everyday driving. You can feel the tension in here. Oh my god, is it low. You literally get your palm under there and that's it. So these are 20s, but we want to use 19s. And these panel gaps look a bit crooked even. This is one rather large panel gap. It ain't small. If you look closely, it starts even down here, but up here it's sticking out. So I guess our goal is to find as many things wrong with this real Lambo as we possibly can for us to improve upon. The fitment of the front bumper is also out of whack. What has he bought? It has to have been crashed. I have to say that the whole door opening situation is pretty rad. How do we replicate it? Can we start the car to see how the spoiler moves around? I take it there's a button somewhere? The wing pops out at speeds above 40 miles an hour, so you can't just flip it on. In theory, we can put it onto a dyno. The thing I'm most concerned about in your case is this area. I got the impression that this bit you simply don't have. No, we have it, we just didn't test fit it. But this we do not have. Can we remove this and use it as a template? Seeing all of this makes you feel like when you get back to the garage in an hour, you'd better start welding. Is that the suspension? These horizontally mounted struts that I've heard so much about. Can you imagine how much space we'll have left in here? I gather the engine will be placed closer to the wheels, so in between it and the cabin, we'll have a ton of extra space. We can use it for cargo, or yeah, install an extra seat. The typical gripes that people have with these supercars is that they're inconvenient, they're low, but we can fix all of that, make ours better. And this is where police officers are going to be poking around. So he looks inside and that's where the VIN is. Nah, he sticks his nose all the way down there. We should set up some mirrors, I guess. Something to throw them off. That's all the legroom you get. I can't stretch him any further. Radio, infotainment, setup, and some kind of joystick controller. You've got this tiny glove compartment. It's all sort of minimized. You've got everything you need, but just enough to tick the boxes. If your battery is flat and you need to get into the car, you remove this trim, where you've got a keyhole and a door handle, so a Lamborghini is easy to steal then. Those guys did steal my Lada. They might as well have stolen a Lambo. I'm sure they've laid their eyes on it. Like, come on, finish the build. Okay, so we've examined that Lambo, we memorized a few things, we did a few measurements, and today a bunch of our questions have been answered. Big thanks to Yaroslav for inviting us over. Hopefully next time we roll up in our very own Lambo and compare the two of them. How long is it gonna be here? It might even leave tomorrow. No, we won't finish the build by tomorrow. Maybe the day after? The whole way here we were discussing what to do with this element and how far a cry it is from a true Lamborghini. We figured we shouldn't do anything with it and just lay it aside. We'll definitely figure something out with the VIN, but this piece just ain't gonna work. You guys were right all along. Whoever dropped those truth bombs in the comments and urged us to throw away this rusty piece of shite and weld something from scratch. We were really hoping to preserve some Nissan so that we could present the car as a Nissan to authorities. Yep, and now for law enforcement this is gonna be whatever, it doesn't matter. So here's the game plan. All of the Nissan bits except for the subframe we now set aside, and proceed to weld a cage from the pipe we have. Once we have a complete car, we'll integrate the little Nissan into it. What matters is that last time you measured up the chassis, Igor was using the subframe for reference, so there's no need to do any new measurements. We can just start welding together the basic structure of our Lambo. So this is fiberglass cloth, and that's what the body of our Lamborghini is made of. You need to treat it with polyester resin, and when it dries, you're left with a very durable material. How many layers do you need to put down to secure the nutserts? We definitely need more. We got 1, 2, 3. Looks like we already put down 3 or 4 layers. So later on, you take this bit, bolt it to the skeleton that you'll be welding together. Sure, it'll be welded onto the frame. You insert it, fasten it, bolt it down. Looks like our Lambo will be screwed together with quick fasteners. That is way more convenient than how they make regular cars. Those are always such a headache. You actually did it! You've been meaning to hack it off for so long. How long have you been saying that you'll cut it off eventually? This car will not have a transmission tunnel, dude. No way. What you're doing is dangerous, stop it. It's quite obviously loose, there's no need to keep cutting. Just make an incision, and we'll break it off to finish the job. I'm leaving enough room to run away. Leaving enough room to run away. That is some strategy. This piece is going to be on standby until the moment we finish building the Lamborghini. Now, we all know that a set of wheels can make or break the appearance of any car. How much would that be in percent? Everybody knows it's 80%. That seems like a lot. I'd say at least 50. We can agree on 50. We're taking this very seriously. We looked into every single option out there on the internet, and we decided that these wheels are completely inappropriate. So instead, we'll be installing these. It's one of the most common patterns you can find on a Lamborghini. We found these for really cheap. The tires we bought used. Remember how hard it was to choose the right pattern? There are like only 3 to 4 that actually suit a Lambo, and you can't find them for sale anywhere. We could have gotten OEM wheels, but they were like 16 grand. Someone offered me a used set for 5.5. It's time to continue welding together our frame. You can see that Yegor is sitting on the right frame rail. Look at how even it is. You would recall that one side of that Nissan was smashed, but now everything is bang on without any deformities. Okay guys, let us continue to assemble the Lamborghini. Let's talk, and we'll start with the front end. We just came to the realization that we should have never even used a donor platform. When you got the front end fitted given the proper length and width, you can tell that there is zero room for a Nissan. I do think that we picked the right donor car though, with it being so rusty that we had to throw it away. And as a result, we'll be building a proper Lambo, unlike all of those internet builds where the cars look like freaking tractors. Yeah, those are basically SUVs. Plus, you really notice that they look okay when the picture is taken from a bit higher, but when the camera comes down a bit lower, oh my god. Today we'll carry on assembling the body, and in the very near future it will start to take on its true shape, at which point we'll switch over to the inner workings of the car. My dear friends, you are about to bear witness to something very important. The very first fusing of plastic and metal parts. You can't even imagine how much time Yegor spent measuring. Anyway, what matters is that we needed to get this lowest point of the front bumper. We needed this right here to be 4.7 inches off the ground. Then we had to put this bit into position, which also had to be 4.7 inches up, plus factor in the height of this side skirt. So we were working all of that out in our minds. Then we had to repeat the procedure on the other side. Position the front end by offset so that it matches the wheel, figure out the width. It was very difficult, but Yegor finally made all of it work. He took a break, then he came back to double check, and it all checks out. Now he's finally welding it all together. You would have seen him attaching nutserts, to which he secured small bits of pipe, which in turn he's welding onto the frame. How much more until you're done? Just 2 pipes and that's it? Yeah, and we can put away these logs? Yep. So guys, while I was explaining all of that to you, he almost finished the job. I am barely believing this. The Lambo is finally starting to look the part, and you're finally cheerful. I mean, you obviously didn't foresee how all of this would go, and you began to panic when you saw that the Nissan was shrinking and the Lambo wasn't manifesting. An entire month went by and we got absolutely nowhere. But now we're actually building something. We're seeing some results. We should have gotten rid of that donor a long time ago. There was no way it could fit. At least I don't have to worry anymore about anything Nissan related. We might never even see it again. None of its gauges, dashboards, heaters, none of that stuff. Just the engine, gearbox, and the underpinnings. What matters is we have a point of reference. We can take the side skirts, fenders, rear bumper, the roof, and begin assembling all of it. You've done the hardest thing. You've positioned the carriage, the wheelbase, and all of that. And now we've got a reference point, which is the front end. We carry on piecing it together to the rear end. Then we start measuring in order to find out where we need to make adjustments, because I don't think it'll work the first time around. I'm confident that we'll get everything right. I'd like to extend my sincere congratulations congratulations to you, buddy. This has to be the best moment. Literally the official start of the build. You guys hit that like button right now. Whoever's saying we're not gonna make it. Oh yes, we are. I give you my word. If Yegor stays in the game and doesn't go insane. If he does give up or go mad, I'll finish the job. That's not gonna make for a great Lambo, but I'm determined to make this work. I'm finally starting to see a car. I can actually see a car sitting on top of its wheels. The bodywork is no longer laid out on logs and secured using Scotch tape. It's all a single piece. We've got a fulcrum point for us to insert a lever and essentially move the entire world. So in the meantime, we need to continue and fit the flank, the roof, and everything else. We've finally sorted the midsection. We've adjusted all of these gaps, and for the time being it's all secured using Scotch tape, but it's on there, and it's all exactly where it should be. At a certain point, Ilya grabbed a tape measure and began to measure something in the back. I was very skeptical, with us having not completed the front end yet. Turns out the diagonal dimensions are very precise. We didn't just get the front where we want it, but the rear too. If you do diagonal measurements relative to any part of the subframe, everything is laid out with millimeter accuracy. We just need to get the height correct. That we won't be able to do until we sort the rest of the body panels, which we need to leave alone and let dry for the time being. Like up front, we glued in some nutserts for us to feed in some bolts and begin to weld. Next time we'll bring the suspensions further out, and hopefully we also finish assembling the bodywork. It appears that the Lambo is finally starting to look right, like it was really meant to. The best part is that we're no longer hacking that Nissan. All that's left are two subframes and a motor. And that'll be a wrap for today. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss the next episode where we'll be building our Lamborghini Aventador. See you soon. Bye.